There we go. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It's great to see you this Sunday night. Thank you for logging on a different night. Wasn't able to make it on Friday. We'll catch up on all of that stuff. It has been a hell of a busy week, but I am very happy to see you tonight. I'll probably run a slightly shorter show just because, just got myself tripped up because I'm doing some dyeing to catch up from being away again last week, and a couple of the colors just did not come out right. This is something that like I really struggle with, and I wonder if anybody can kick into the thread here with thoughts and words and whatever. You know, ever since I've moved and I have got well water, I don't know if it's what's in the town. I cannot, there's a few colors I cannot seem to get anymore. And it's so strange because it seems to me like water is water, but it's not. Of course, there's different chemicals in different waters from town to town. And it's so strange to me that where I am here, it's really hard for me to get like some of my brightest colors and some of my colors with a red undertone. Strange. So as I kind of struggle with these dyeing days, I dyed about, I want to say like 150 colors yesterday. Crazy amount of colors. But as I look at some of them coming out, they look right when I pull them out of the water because they're still wet. So they're like that high saturation gives them a bit of a more darker value. But when they come out and dry, they're much lighter. And I think, God, I know what my recipes are. I know what the colors are. I know what the amounts are. Everything is scientifically to the T. And it's funny, I say funny, but that's not really the word I was using. It's remarkable. That's also not the word I was using, that some of these colors just come out different. And I know that it like dates to the time that we moved and now we're in this other house and it's so strange. Yeah, so I've got to figure that out because it's got to be like testing pH, adding, I mean, obviously I add synthropol when I soak this stuff and then I add citric acid while I'm dyeing. But some of them, there's something else that needs to happen. I'll figure it out. I just tweak my colors in the time being and I add different things and create recipes or recipes as I go. And I end up throwing out a lot of wool, which is frustrating. I mean, I don't throw it out. I use it later for my, sorry, I'm bumping the table, for my own projects. But, when it's meant to earmarked for sets and orders. It's very frustrating. So I'll probably run about an hour tonight. Then I'm going to get back in the kitchen. You should see the pile of stuff I just put on the kitchen island that says over dye, over dye, over dye. Very frustrating. But hey, in the meantime, it is great to see you and welcome back. Happy Sunday, everybody. I really, good evening, Karen. Great to see you. Juju Needlewise, great to see you in Pennsylvania. Welcome back. Diane, welcome back. Great to see you. Jessica, great to see you. You are on deck tonight. Because, of course, if you remember last Friday, a terrible storm blew in while we were running live, and there were signs of it because there was crazy thunder and lightning and out the window here up in the sky, and I just thought, oh, whatever, it's a storm passing, but it was a really crazy storm. It was the most wild storm I can remember having, short of like hurricanes from years ago. It was a really wild storm. So I ended up losing power, like not really losing power, losing power a few times, but losing my connection, and it wasn't able to come back. So I guess that's losing internet. Is that the right word? Can't figure out what part of the magic technology is the part that got missing or lost or disconnected. But well, we kind of stopped short at that gallery night. It was a great gallery night up to that point, but we still had a few people on deck whose work we were about to look at. Plus, if you remember, I was going to do a quick thing on filling in stuff, filling in backgrounds with your marble cake fills, right? What a marble cake fill looks like. I was going to do that in a practical way using my whiteboard. So I will do that tonight too. Let's see, I would like to give a cheers, my dears, to the travel grip frame from the Woolery in Kentucky. I received it on Tuesday. I love it so far. Doesn't stab me and is a pleasure to use. Interesting. So this is the travel grip frame. Is this the wooden frame that closes onto itself and packs almost flat? Is that the one I'm thinking of? What kind of size is that frame? Is that like a 10 or a 12-inch square, or is that a rectangle frame? And the last thing I wanted about that frame is it one of the frames where the combs sit on the surface or wrap around the sides? Because for me, that is the all important difference there. I've been traveling to keep this conversation going, I've been traveling with my Pittsburgh frame, which is the blue frame. Now, the pros and cons of that frame to me, the con, I would say two cons. It feels very brittle. And I know it's probably not. It's plastic, like its casing is plastic. It feels brittle, which makes me nervous because I think, when will that fateful day come when it cracks? And then I really have a problem because that frame is maybe 300, 350, something like that. I think something like that. And sometimes you find it online if you're lucky. So that's for me one of the cons. The other con is that for the Pittsburgh, the combs are viciously sharp. And yeah, you want them sharp, right? Just like with your dinner, you maybe want it spicy, but you don't want to go to the emergency room, right? Like there's degrees of sharpness and spiciness, and I keep hurting myself on this frame, so I end up putting something down. I mean, I could put the cozy around the edge of it, right? I have cozies. I've made cozies. I'll bring the cozies to the Halloween party this year. I have a bunch of cozies to bring to the Halloween party from my little vending table. Um, I could do that. I just never think to do it and I forget and then I bring the frame and then I go, "Oh God, this one is extra vicious." But the pros with that Pittsburgh frame, because that's the one I've been traveling with and I want to hear more about the one that we're talking about here, the Wooleries one, the travel grip. The pros with the Pittsburgh, it is so flat. It folds so flat. When those metal bars are in their grooves, it is like in stone. Like I don't even want to collapse it, right? I could like use it as a chair, right? Except I would die because of the grips. But it is so strong and it feels very secure. It's also the Pittsburgh, a really big surface area. I'm not sure what the exact measurement is, but I would say it's like maybe 13, like working area, maybe a little bit more, maybe 14. It's quite big. It's definitely more than 12 in both directions. So I feel like I can really get a good amount on there because I hook with wool bat at this moment almost exclusively. I love it and it goes fast and I'm working on a couple of book projects at the same time, so speed is the key. And the combs are vicious for the wool bat, so I'm really careful about pulling it away and lifting it up so that my bat isn't coming out when I'm stopping working for the night. But it is a great, I love working on the Pittsburgh frame. It is the one I always pack. I also have the red one that's very good. It's a standing one. What is it called? It's one that kind of telescopes open. It's a smaller square top. It's red. Thank you so much. It's one of the fancy ones. Townsend. I think it's a Townsend. Also nice. Also nice. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just a little bit of extra, and I won't take it away from our content time. That Townsend frame I love. It also folds completely flat, except it's a standing frame, which is great. Has a smaller thing on it, a smaller frame dimension to it. It's more like maybe it's a 12 by 12. It spins in a circle like the octagon frame, which is a great plus because I have to pull my piece off less. I just turn it and I can work a different part of it, but it's quite small. So, yes, I can turn it and not have to lift off my pattern, but I do have to turn it often because it's a small frame and it gets filled in quickly. The hardest thing for me with a Townsend travel frame, thank you, or any standing frame, is that if you are sitting somewhere different, and I bet you can relate to this, if you're sitting anywhere different, not in your chair, right, not in your usual chair, that frame might not pull close enough to you. So for example, when I go to my mom's and sit on the couch, she's got one of these like cushy leather sofas and you kind of like fall into it, you like sink into it and it puts me very far. When my back is on the back of the sofa, I'm very far away from as far as the frame can get because it can only get right to the edge. It like hits the couch and it doesn't go any further because it's small, so the head of it won't come any further toward me. Do you know what I mean? So that's a real thing too, because if I'm going to use that frame and I'm in a different chair or a chair that doesn't have an area underneath for the stand to go under, then I find myself perched way far forward in it. These are all things to think about, and this I'm glad that you brought this up, and I'm anxious to hear more about that specific frame. But these are all things to think about with both your frames and your hooks and your supplies in general, your tools, because you're only as comfortable and only as able to work like to the best of your ability if your tools are working for you. And obviously the frame and the hook are the most important tools. And when we travel, right, you can take your hook no problem, but you might take a different frame. So it's so important to find that love match with your frame, because if you bring the wrong one and the chair is like this at the hotel or whatever, the rental house, and you're not comfortable in it, you're going to find it hard to work. And that, we all know that feeling, I think. It is an awful feeling when you arrive on vacation and you've got all your junk with you and you're thinking, let's do this uninterrupted. And it's very hard to work, right? It's not impossible, but it's uncomfortable or difficult to work logistically, and it becomes like really depressing. That happens to me all the time. Even though we always go to the same places, but always experimenting with different frames, and I end up filling the car with rug hooking stuff because I want to be sure that I can work while we're away. That's not even a question. I need to keep going. So interesting. I love talking about. There's not a lot of places where we can talk about frames or any rug hooking tools like this, right? I mean, I love talking about frames because I learn a lot from other people. I go, ooh, of course. But I think this is one of the reasons it's also important to shout out to new people and say, if you're struggling with, doing the work, if you're struggling with working your piece, might well be something like technical, like your frame, your position, your hook, the way that you're sitting. Like it might not be anything to do with you and your infinite creativity. Right? That's the important message to share. Linda, great to see you. Oh, it's rainy in New Jersey. Oh man. And I'll figure it out. Yeah, I hate reworking colors that already exist because then I have to go, oh, well, now I'm looking for just a hint of a red that has a little bit of green in it. And it's, I have an infinite, like I have every color in every line, like except for Rit, right? I only have a few Rits, no, nothing against Rit. But I have like hundreds of colors, and I do have swatches, but I'm going to show you what my box of swatches looks like. You're going to be like, oh, that's handy. This is part of my box of swatches. These are just the ones that I have used like in the last 48 hours, right? Since I've been back from Cape Cod, just the ones that are on top. So when I use them, I say to myself, like, okay, so this one is called Weekend Trip, and I've got all my colors in here, and I have my colors written down. Sometimes I have notes on them and things crossed off that say, do it much more lightly, or you might need a pinch of this or something like that. So these are just all cardboard cards that I've ripped off of boxes, right? That have like information on them that I write in a Sharpies because they're so that they're waterproof. But you do see with my amazing system that sometimes one of the swatches comes out. So this one, the color that's called my flea market dress, right? I don't know what color that is. I would have to pull up ribbon candy hooking, look at it, try to remember because now my swatch is gone. So I have one color, well, two colors written on the back to describe it, but I really need to compare to the color itself because different water, right? So that's a real problem. But at least it's a system. I used to do more complicated systems with things, swatches in card sleeves, like plastic card sleeves and stuff. But at the end of the day, I find that when I'm taking out colors, I want to take a color and match it right against something else and go, yeah, no, once it's dry, I match it right to the color. So I like to have the colors IRL, as my children say, in real life, to be able to touch them and look at how they look next to the new colors. It's tricky. It's tricky. I gotta say, sometimes I'm really feeling it. It's usually not the summer. When I'm really feeling it, it's like cold outside or it's getting cold outside, and I think to myself, it's really fun to be standing by the. Sounds very sarcastic right now because it's still hot. It's very fun to be standing by the stove dying and blocking the kitchen at the same time. But other times I sincerely say to myself, it just feels really good to stand here and do magic, do alchemy, just mix these pots and oh, look at the way these colors look together. Never expected these to come out like that. That's a great feeling. Like sometimes, right? We're always in the mood for different things, right? And I know some of you die and others don't, probably for some of these reasons. But I will get there in the end. It will work out. Kaz, great to see you. Good evening in Wisconsin. Kaz, it's almost time in Wisconsin for, um, okay, wait a minute. Big, huge rug hooking pieces show. I went to see her recently. Oh, come on. She was in Connecticut. That doesn't help. About women. Big, huge rug show about women, larger than life hooked pieces. Oh, Faye, Linda Faye. Ah, Linda Faye. Oh, come on. What part of she has a hyphenated name? I'm missing part of it. But she is just about ready to go to Wisconsin, right? She's heading out to Wisconsin to do, I think, a couple of classes. I think one of them is a penny rug class. It's very evolved penny rug class. It's not, I'm just going to move this light back a little bit. I feel like I'm getting an x-ray done on my teeth. Still, it's a really different penny rug class, and I'm not sure if she's doing a hooking class too. I'm wondering if any of the Wisconsin buddies are going to be Alpert Fay, Liz Alpert Fay, right? There we go, Liz Alpert Fay. Um, and let's see. Catherine, happy Sunday. I'm shipping everything tomorrow. I shipped a couple of the kits. I'm very late with the August kits. I'm so sorry. I will make it up to all of the subscribers eventually because I will be putting out that pattern on linen at the end of the year as an extra pattern, like a New Year design. But man, it has been hard this summer to keep up with stuff, particularly when there's so many wild card things going on with the kids. But I have not forgotten about your blue. So I'm going to check back to your message and figure out which month it is that you're short on the blue. I have to check that because there's blue in several. So I need to check, but I haven't forgotten. And Diane says, Deanna, have you tried asking Chemnist? She's great. Channel on YouTube. She's a big biochemist and dyes yarn. Indigo Vat playlist is fascinating. Funny you say that because Kaz gave us a bunch of indigo stuff for tonight's episode if interested in natural dyeing. I am, but not anytime soon. I got to say, I have so much natural dye stuff around. I'm just overwhelmed right now, project wise. But I have watched her channel. I watched it more years ago, and she's great. She's a lot of fun. She's great. She does a lot of interesting stuff with yarn dyeing for knits mostly. But yeah, I mean, I could. I don't know that someone else can sort of fine tune or diagnose what's going on in my kitchen. You know what I mean? Because um, I think I'm going to have to pH my water, which you can do, and figure out what's going on with the water that comes out of the faucet. See what it might be missing compared to, for example, the last sink that I used, which was in a different town, and figure out what kind of supplement I could put directly into the pans of water as I'm dyeing that could help me get a better balance, you know. Because it's funny, it's not 99% of the colors, it's just a few colors that really play me. But if I hit a dead end, I will definitely reach out to her. Sharon, great to see you. Good evening, Goretti. Good evening. Great to see you in Southern Ontario. Diane, yes, collapses to an 11-inch square, not flat, not wrapped. Okay, around all wood, great tighteners. Okay, great review for that one. That's great. That's that travel frame. And oh, Ryan, great to see you. Hello, all rugging all day break time. Are you Ryan? I don't know what you're working on right now. Let me guess. Is it a huge piece? I'm gonna have to look. Let me look on Facebook right now. I wonder what you're working on. Let's see. Ryan historically works on the most tremendous pieces in terms of size, enormous. Let me see if I can find you. Let me see what's in the group. Have you posted something in the group lately that I can refer to? I'm going to search by your name and let's see. Um, I know I saw something maybe 2 months ago. Wondering if it's the same. Oh, it doesn't go in chronological order, dang it. Well, that's not super helpful, is it? Oh, I hope you send. Wonder if I can search by. I won't do this right now. Isn't it weird how it does that? I mean, it's Ryan, 99% of the posts I'm looking at are not even you. I don't know why it's showing me things that are incorrect. Very frustrating. Yeah, none of these look 14 weeks. Well, what were you working on here? It looks like a giant latch background. Does that sound right? And you look like you are marking it off for an original pattern. Is this the piece you're working on? Looks like this. Is that your current piece? It's a gridded backing, and that's yellow tape that you put on there. Maybe that's an older one. It says 14 weeks, which for you working on pieces that are like this size of like, the whatever, what's that huge tapestry? At that size, I would think you'd be working on them for a while, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're moved on. Anxious to know. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Kaz, Liz's class is on August 20, penny rug class. Okay, are you doing that one? I know penny rugging is not for everyone, but she does do such unusual penny rugging. It's coming up, roses. Thank you. I will remember that. Yes, yes. Okay, got it. Okay, I can do that. Coming up, roses, blue background, two colors. Yep, no problem. Thank you. That saves me some time after the show. So let me take a little sip and then let's get into it. It was a crazy week here, summer and all. Life is a moving target. And with the two kids, Teddy is a bit more predictable. I know what he likes. I know what he does. I know what he expects. I know how he spends his days. Joss is a bit of a flibberty gibbet, right? She's a bit of a moving target. The one thing I know for sure, well, I know many things. She's not that into horseback riding anymore. She's not feeling very athletic these days. There's not a lot she likes to do outside. Um, if she were, for example, to walk into town with us, even at the incitement of like getting an ice cream or a meal or something like that, it'd be very hard to get her butt out of the house and on a walk. It's just tough times right now. So I know, anxiety problems and all of her problems. Um, I try to leave her alone in the summer. The one thing for sure that she loves is going fishing. So we did the Mystic Camp, which was great, but then we did the fishing camp, which was even better, and she absolutely loved it, and she wanted, there was 3 more weeks left to it, and she's like, can we come back? And I said, I think it's totally sold out for the rest of the summer. So I said, we'll just put our names in the hat, and if something opens up, like, we'll see if it can work. Otherwise, we hope that they do something in the fall, or we hope we don't have to wait a year to go again, because she really loved it. She really loved this group, this camp. She really loved the adults who were in charge. I really love the adults who were in charge, because there was this sort of uh, messaging that I really appreciated. That was like, be respectful of the animals, of the environment, of the water itself, be respectful. Um, you know, we're fishing, right? We're catching stuff, we're killing it, we're eating it. It's delicious. I enjoy it too. But let's be respectful about, all of the things in between, right? And let's not be like kicking buckets with bait in them or live animals in them. And there was a big, huge emphasis on that. And I really liked that, because I thought, you know, I see a lot of like meathead activity, like on some of these charters. People are just very thoughtless and careless about how they conduct themselves. And this camp for me is very different. So it kind of aligns with my feelings about everything, right? So I'm sure you're getting a sense of foreshadowing here, but I got a message on Friday right before I started the live show, saying there was a cancellation and super late notice, but do you want to come? It starts on Monday, another week, and it's a little bit different, and it was older kids. And I thought, oh, so I went and said to Joss, if I could move the earth, because I had a lot of appointments this past week with church and everything too. And I said, if I could move the earth, would you want to go? And she was like it was like the Beatles are all alive. Do you want to see them in concert tonight? Like, oh my God, yes. So then I'm like, okay, so now that I've said it, I've got to try to move the earth, money wise and everything, because money too, and that also means that we have to stay out there for more time. So luckily, my mom helped us out. Huge thank you to her with some of that money, because it turns into a lot, right? And she really wanted to do it. Just she and I left at about 5 a.m. on Monday morning, and I put the GPS up thinking there's not going to be traffic, obviously, between here and Cape Cod on Monday morning at 5 a.m. Literally, before I even got on the highway, on my back roads here in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, my time ticked back like 20 minutes. And I started to panic cry, like looking at the GPS, like for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes. Until I crossed the bridge, I didn't stop to pee. I was thinking about peeing in a cup. Like, that's how desperate times were. And she was asleep, so there was no problems there. I promised we would stop at Dunkin' Donuts. We didn't. I just gunned it, because I thought, if I get stuck on that damn bridge, I lost 20 minutes twice, and I had like an extra 45 minutes built in, so I had 5 minutes to spare. Oh, yeah. I sprayed the part in my hair, because it all went gray during that 3 hour block. But we got there on time, and everything was great. And it really was the most amazing week, because she did do different things. They went like, last time, it was 2 weeks ago, they went like cohogging and fishing for bass, and they tagged sharks, and they did different things. And this time she did some of those things, some of like fishing in the ocean again. She didn't do the fishing from the land, which is like her least favorite, like fishing off a jetty. They did fishing in a pond. She was like up to her shoulders fishing in a pond, and she loved that. Was a pond. Otherwise, I would have been very upset with the amount of sharks in the water right now, right? Up to your shoulders is too deep these days, in this part of the Atlantic. But it was a pond. And then they did a day where they caught fish and brought it to a restaurant and cooked it in the kitchen. She tried it. She didn't like it, right? She doesn't like anything but potato chips and bread. She likes prison food, but she tried it, and that's the main thing, right? That's all you can ask is like, give it a try, kid, right? It was fantastic, but we came flying back on Friday, and I was hoping to run the show on Friday. I was thinking maybe if I ran it at 8, but we got back at like 8:45, so I thought, let's just do this tonight. And I'm sorry I kind of disappeared last week. I was planning on being with you and running at least one more show. I also noticed that a lot of people were not online last week, and I think I know why. Of course, last week was Sauter Village, right? Many of you were at Sauter Village. I hope that you'll share some of the photos that you took at Sauter. Barbara has a ton of photos for me that she took of the different shows that were up, and I will run a show this week. I'll have to think if I can do it tomorrow on Monday. Have to see how far I get with my dying tonight after tonight's show because I've got to get those orders out tomorrow. But I will run a show this week for sure. Looking back, I wasn't at Sauter. Thank God I hadn't committed to that, right? I was hoping to go, but I hadn't committed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do this thing with Joss, which was really such a great thing. It's such a great bonding thing for us. She's not always available to me, if you see what I mean. She's not always like emotionally available or interested. So for us to be able to spend time together is like such a big deal when it works, it really worked well. So we will hear all about Sauter Village later this week and the upcoming Friday night. So that'll be wonderful because it'll be all a surprise to me too, seeing some of the shows that were up there. I know that they were great. I know they were lots of fun. So we'll do that together. For those of you who were at Sauter, you'll enjoy looking at that stuff. It'll be a little trip down memory lane, right? And giant Kit Kat bar. I saw that, Ryan. I saw that. Oh, let me pull that up. I saw a giant Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of. I better not, or I'm going to have this video tagged for copyright. What am I thinking? Um, Here it is. Let me see if I can show this to you. Ryan, I have to ask. You're punching it. Obviously, it's reversed. Is there a destiny? Like, is there something specific you've got going with the giant Kit Kat bar? Does it have like a destined place where it will live forever? Does it have its forever home? Is it like a custom piece or something? Because it is an unusual piece, gotta say. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see it. Will it be in the traditional Kit Kat colors? That now that I think about it, Kit Kats haven't changed very much. The packaging, right? It's been orange with the chocolate Kit Kat kind of since the beginning of time, right? Trying to think if Barry Manilow wrote that jingle for Kit Kat. You know how he wrote almost every jingle that's still in your head? Wondering if he wrote that one too. I have a feeling he did. Wonder if anybody knows that. I love thinking about Barry. So let's catch up with what we didn't get to when the power went off last Friday night. And oh, also, before I forget, I want to remind you coming up this week, it's going to be a busy week here with the summer, and it's the last full week that the kids are out. So I am bound to spin out myself this week because I hate it when they go back to school. I know they are a pain and everything is busy and crazy, but I hate it when they go to school. Not just because my schedule is more structured, but because I really hate it when they're not here. That's, I think, part of being a really old mom is like, I just hate it when they leave me in the morning and they come back so many hours later, completely exhausted, and they don't feel like talking. We don't get to do anything together. And then we're living for the weekends. The weekends are overly busy, and it just goes on for like almost a year until they're on summer break again. So, yeah. Anyway, that's coming up too. So Wednesday night, I am doing the online. You don't have to be there live, but I will be presenting it live. The Design Like William Morris class this coming Wednesday. So be sure you're signed up for that if you want to do that with me live on Zoom. So Joy, great to see you. Happy Sunday night. I hope it was a great weekend. Oh, Kaz, you are homebound because of the new puppy. Kaz, remind me the new puppy's name because I think it's a boy, it's a little boy. I think he's in one of the photographs tonight, right? What a cutie. Um, Yeah, make sure you're signed up for that class on Wednesday. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about patterning, how to do continued patterns. We're going to also talk about animals. Like he did a lot with animals, and he did a lot of stuff that was not textile design. So textile design, is wallpaper and fabric and stuff, right? Like repeat designs, like for textile mills and printing mills. Doesn't really correlate to us apples to apples. We will look at that stuff for sure in a segment of it, but I also want to look at some of his other work that's still super Art Nouveau, and how to do stuff that is figural, like his animal pieces, right? Like his bunny, like his different animals with frames and stuff. So we're going to be looking at a variety of stuff as well as his classic motifs and how to do them. So that's coming up on Wednesday. If you're interested in that, that should be a lot of fun. Um, oh, Diane, great to see you. Yeah, I couldn't do Friday. I just couldn't get home in time, and I'm glad I didn't say I would because, man, we didn't hit really bad traffic until we tried to stop at McDonald's because Milady needed to eat, right? She had only eaten 20 times up to that point, like she was eating garbage in the back seat. Milady needed to eat, and the McDonald's held us up for about 40 minutes. Amazing, right? Amazing. And then I came home, and Monsieur over here, Teddy, was hungry for dinner, and he'd been bored all week, to be fair. So I had to take him to Chili's at 9:30 at night. I was about ready to die at that point, but yes, it is the end of summer after all, isn't it, Kaz? William Morris is scheduled for Thursday. Oh my gosh, Thursday. Okay, good one. Thank you, Kaz. Let me make sure it's right on my. Yes, it is right on my calendar. It's just wrong in my dirty mouth. Sorry about that. It is Thursday. You are right, from 4 to 6. Yep, that's what I have too. Whoa, I have an extra day. Boop, boop. Thank you, Kaz. That's great. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Um, I have a bunch of other things to talk to you about. We'll do some at the end. Quickie, quick shout out, Caswell Carpet. So the woman's been in touch again. It's like lightning in a jar, right? When she, no offense and nothing against her, but it's hard to stay in touch and keep the conversation alive. So she wrote and said, like, I said, autumn is out. Like that ship has sailed, right? If we had had this conversation, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, even 3 months ago, I would have been all about autumn in Vermont, fantastic. But that ship has sailed. So, and for me too. So, spring. So, I gave her a bunch of dates. This was still over 2 weeks ago, and said, can we lock one of them in? My heart just started beating really fast. So, we can plan on our end. So, if you've got Caswell stuff that you're half finished with, or you were thinking, I am moving on to Harriet Powers, but maybe I'll do one more Caswell, or three more Caswells, or five more Caswells. They can be small, right? And Jessica, certainly big shout out to you with the Caswells. I will be planning that with her in the spring, and I'll give you lots of notice. As soon as she locks it in with me, I'm going to lock it in with you. So that is coming up too. So be thinking about that because those Caswell carpet patterns are still there on Ribbon Candy Hooking as downloads, patterns on whatever backing you want, as PDFs, whatever you want, on fiber tape, whatever. So that's there for you too. So many projects we've got going on, right? Last shout out. I'm thinking of it as I go along. Halloween book. I'm working on the Halloween book. I'm putting that out first. So I'll be putting the Mystic Carpet out. And the Mystic Carpet will not be as large as the Haunted Rug. Haunted Rug was like 230 pages or something. It had like 100 patterns in it. This will be a much smaller book. This will probably be like 30 patterns, something like that. A normal sized book. That's even large, right? Most pattern books have like 15, 18 patterns. This is still a large one, but it is more of a workbook format. It is not a lot of text. Halloween and autumn themed, lots of fun patterns in it. I've got a lot of my patterns in it. There's some other people putting some of their patterns in it. If you would like to put one of your Halloween or autumn patterns into the Mystic Carpet book, it will be coming out in early, I will be printing it in early October. It will come out still in early October, the second week at the Halloween party. I'll be shipping them the week of the Halloween party. So the first people to see them will be people who are at the Halloween party with me in Stockbridge, Massachusetts for the big ribbon candy hooking Halloween Howl in the class that happens the day before. And I will have, when I show up, already shipped the books to people who have ordered them. So you get to see them soon after. But I want them to officially premiere when we're all together. And I hope you'll be there too. So tickets for that, of course, are at Ribbon Candy Hooking as well. And write me if you can't find stuff because it's important to lock stuff in, particularly things that have limits, like the class the day before has like a size limit. So if you have something that you have designed that you're happy to share the pattern with that's autumn or Halloween, let me know. I don't really need text for this. This is more of a pattern book, these Halloween books. I'm going to try to put them out just about every year, something with a Halloween theme. So if you have something for that, let me know, because there's a lot of other people putting in some extraordinary patterns that are very unlike mine. It's going to be a nice, I love mine, and a lot of people love mine, but it's nice to have variety, isn't it? So if you've got some that you think, oh, I'm really proud of this piece, I'd love to put it in there. Even if it advertises your brand and it's not ribbon candy hooking, do it, right? This is all about giving people patterns to do and giving people sort of seasonal, festive, Halloween, autumn stuff that they can choose from. So I don't really care about, is it your pattern and do you want to mention your brand in it? I don't mind. I'm happy for you to mention your brand. I just want a nice book to put out that has lots of choices and styles for lots of different people to choose from. So be thinking about that too. Now come back over here with me to last week. And let me just remind myself where we were. I think I'm going to start. Oh, good to see you, Judy. Hope you didn't stumble too hard. Very happy to have you. Okay, I'm going to start here again and conclude this part of the talk that we started with last week, right? I don't have quite as much as I did last time, but I want to conclude this talk. We looked at this piece last week. If you remember, and I hope that you will watch last Friday's episode if you haven't yet, it was a really fun episode. And yes, we lost power like 20 minutes before our usual end, but I think we had a lot of fun in the time that we were together, and we got a lot done. Um, I was talking at the beginning of that episode about how I took a road trip to, what was it, Greenfield, Massachusetts. And I was visiting with Valerie and Scott Conti, and their mom, Judith Conti, if anybody knows her, was the maker of this rug and a bunch of other rugs that I took pictures of that I started showing. Oh, Nancy, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there to say greetings in Cleveland. Great to see you. Happy Sunday night. Cass says Sola. New pup's name is Sola, meaning sky or universe in Japanese. Absolutely beautiful name. Kaz, what a cutie. You are so lucky. What a sweetheart. It is Sola in the photo you sent for tonight, right? Looked like a little young pup face. So Judith was a hooker in both Idaho and Greenfield, Mass. And I'm still wondering if anyone knew her because she was involved in a lot of social groups and guilds. And I'm thinking somebody must have known her. This is one that we looked at last week, so I'm not going to linger on it. But if you remember, when we looked at this one, we started the conversation. Is that a commercial pattern? No, of course it's not a commercial pattern. Oh, that is her, Kaz. Him. I'm sorry. I keep doing that. That is that sweet little boy. I think it was Judy or Diane. Maybe it was Diane who said, "I bet these are grandchildren pictures that she's hooking up here." And I looked at them again over the week, and I thought, you know what? I think you are right. There was a couple of them, including today's thumbnail and the one that I was just looking at, where I thought, yeah, those are definitely grandchildren pictures, aren't they? What a lot of fun. I was just kind of refreshing your mind memory with that one. These are some of the ones that you haven't looked at yet that I want to share. This one, oh, maybe we did look at this one. I think we did. Yeah, we did look at this one. And I still wasn't sure about whether that was a commercial pattern or not. This is the one that started that conversation about, is this commercial? It was like, no, this has got to be grandchildren art. Some of you wrote to me and said, yeah, let's work on a project about hooking our children's art, our grandchildren's art, or children's art in general, neighbor kids, whatever. I am completely, let me resize this one for you. I am completely on board with that. Let's hold on that for just a hot minute. I've got a few projects in mind that are like really pressing. Obviously, for this moment, the Mystic Carpet book, which will come out, as I say, in early October, and then Spilling the Tea comes out for Thanksgiving, which hopefully is a good fit. I missed 4th of July, and I figure the next sort of old-timey early American holiday we've got on the horizon is Thanksgiving. I think that's the perfect time to do it, but I have lots of ideas that I want to bounce off of you, and I have not yet put something. Oh, speaking of cute dogs, I've not yet put something on the calendar for, and yet I don't see him. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I heard something big move around me. Let me just look out the window and see if there's a bear. I was expecting to look down and see Buttons the dog because I heard something shake. That scares me. Nothing at the door, nothing at the door. Just checking around, making sure nothing is about to bust into the breezeway. How strange is that? Weird. I just heard the sound of a dog. God, I hope it wasn't a ghost dog. Like shaking its collar, like a shaking the collar noise. Good Lord. Um, God knows what that was. Anyway, um, yeah. So all of that is coming at you, but and I do have a lot of projects and suggestions that y'all have sent in that I think are great ideas. We're going to do all of them sooner or later, and I will schedule that Magpie Zoom so we can brainstorm about the winter issue of Zoom. The My husband at this moment is putting together the fall issue. He's just checking it all. We have to make sure that it passes all of the printing um, speed bumps, like with contrast and all that, because we have to check every bit of it, because otherwise the printers sit on it for a while, and then we'll write back in a week or two and say contrast isn't good enough on this page, kind of thing. We don't want to stall it that way. Sometimes when it's late, it's because that happened. Sometimes I don't agree with the sentiment, and I think, let me just print this magazine the way that I would like to print it. Dang it, but it doesn't work like that. So he's working on that now, and we should have it out to print in the morning. So that's coming up on you quick, and it's time for us to start thinking about the Christmas one. But in the meantime, Judith Conti, look at this adorable piece. Now, what do you think? What is the consensus here? Is this a commercial piece, or is this an original, an OG? This to me, um, I'm just not sure. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. I have a feeling it's an original. Because we saw in the last episode the Noah's Ark that she did and the style of her animals, and the animals seem quite similar to me. There is a character in the bottom right that looks crazy. What animal do you think that might be? The big round one. Um, it looks like a very specific community to me. Yeah, because it is a weird mashup, isn't it? There's a bear at the top and a butterfly. There's fish. There are flamingos. And maybe there's a crocodile at the bottom. Maybe, like, I don't know, antelopes or something at the bottom. It is kind of like it may be one child's choice, right? What animals would you like in this rug? It is that kind of a weird mix up, isn't it? It's not what one would expect to see. And yeah, I agree with you, Diane. I think this might be another one of her original. I love the feathery flamingos. Is that a turkey? Oh, it could be. It could be one of these sort of very ugly wild turkeys. It's got such a round body. Um, Gosh, it could be a children's drawing too. I mean, look at that crazy eye. Are those teeth coming out, or is that maybe a little beak? I thought those were like buck teeth, but it could be a beak. I heard the noise again. Yes, isn't it great how the flamingos are hooked? Now, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, and this is a photo of a photo, so we might lose a little bit of the integrity. But let's look at those feathers a little bit, because it seems to me that she did something very fancy indeed. Now, what do you think that is? Is that just like laddery, feathery? It probably is. It's probably like, the craft store feathery stuff that's like super, super long and eyelashy, do you think? Because what else could. Oh my God, I gotta look again. Something's up. Oh my God, you scared the crap out of me. Thank God I didn't say a bad word. Oh God, I just got the super shivers. Okay, get back in there. I've got to take a picture. Look what he just did to me. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that was fantastic. Okay, this is what's going on. This is what's going on here. It's not quite in focus, but you could see how that would be startling while I'm standing here, right? Oh my God, I'm telling you, telling you. I'm gonna have to go to the hairdresser this week. I can't spray any more of the cover up on all this white and gray. Jessica says, I'm thinking it's hooked with eyelash yarn. I need a glass of wine. I'm thinking so too. It is so long. She did it so well too. The only reason I'm hesitating is because you know how eyelash yarn is so fly away? Total horror movie. It's so fly away that it usually sticks out. This seems a little bit heavy, like it's heavy enough that gravity is pulling it down. Do you know what I mean? It's not like flyaway hair. It's like it's I don't know. It might be, and it probably is eyelash. It just seems like it's heavy. Maybe she just kind of, I don't know, because eyelash yarn wouldn't is synthetic, so it wouldn't respond to ironing. But maybe it's just long. I don't know. Isn't it strange? She might have found some weird fiber at a store and was like, "Oh, I'm buying it and I know what I'm using it for." And it might be something like a fancier eyelash than the ones we find at Walmart, formerly at Joann's, or at, for example, Ocean State Job Lot or the dollar store. Could be a fancier one than that because those exist. Diane says, bottom right character looks like an insect or a grasshopper. Maybe. You're right. Maybe that's some kind of a shell on it or something. Jessica said, I'm throwing it out there. Maybe she crocheted in fun for yarn and attached it. Oh, Jessica, that makes a lot of sense. And she was a great crocheter and knitter. You're about to see the spoils of that. But I think you might be right because it's sitting much too nicely for just, hooking it and pulling it through and going, you stay like that, right? It's like it has some weight to it. It really has some body to it. Interesting. That would work. I wish I didn't see this piece in person. I wish I might someday could look at the back of it because that would give me a great clue as to what this might be. But these are all great suggestions. I think it's a really fun piece. Another beauty, when I was over there, Scott, her son, said she occasionally, my heart is still beating really fast. She occasionally had someone custom do a pattern for her, but normally she hooked with, I'll make this one smaller. Normally she hooked with commercial patterns. And I'm thinking, as we have looked through Judith's pieces, I think, I think, I think he remembers, I think he doesn't remember exactly. I think she almost always did original patterns. It just seems like that to me. Now, Buttons is in here sniffing around at the door again, making me nervous again. Hold on, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller yet. Now, what do we think about this one? Oh, there's more flamingo action happening here. And will we get any more clues? Isn't that gorgeous? This has to be an original, don't you think? Another original. And, looking at Judith's pieces is such a great example in my mind. It just makes me want to say again and again and again, look it, right? If you have some ideas, some simple ideas, whether you're going to do the drawing, your kids, your grandkids are going to do the drawing, if you feel like you are not the greatest artist of all time, and I'm not saying that Judith was not a good artist, I think she was a great artist, but you can see that this folky style really lends itself, right, to all kinds of interpretations. This sort of primitive, very simple graphic handling of these motifs makes it very easy to draw them and to hook them, right? You just look something up, Google something, right? Google it, don't AI it, Google it, and say like, show me an egret. What does an egret look like? Show me a photo of an egret. Maybe you have a photo of an egret and just go for it. And it's going to come out great. Even if it's not perfect, like that thing in the bottom right corner of the last one, it's going to come out great. And if you work yourself into a corner, like with a piece like this, and you end up having a border and thinking, God, I've got a lot of busyness going on. I got the biz happening in the center. What am I going to do with the rest of this piece? Well, what about putting on a personal border that in your mind makes sense, right? So this is like a street address. This is probably her street address, or some whoever's got this rug. And yeah, she's got like little pine branches with little fronds or whatever, right? It's so cute. And I love that sort of hit or miss burgundy border. I love the way that some of the animals break the borders. It's almost like a little sampler, right? Little Baltimore album kind of thing. And some of them break the borders, and that's the house itself featured right at this address. But the border is very calming in my mind. I love that it's not like green. I love that it's in browns. It's really charming. I love the outlining that she did where she realized that contrast was going to be a big problem. I love that it's a limited palette. It's the aubergine, it's a lot of aubergine in the center, lots of blues, lots of grays, lots of neutrals, and there's the flamingo again. So somebody is loving, maybe this is Florida, somebody is loving the flamingo. And I bet you that these two rugs are at the same house. Let's see what the next one is. So this is the last one I have from Judith. And this is how I know, this is not hooked. This is how I know that she loved crocheting and knitting. I don't remember if this is crocheted or knit, but this is a piece that she put into the Idaho State Fair and won first place in crafts. I think this is a crocheted chess set. And she weighted the pieces down. Um, I forget, Scott told me with a little sandbag or something like that. She weighted them down herself. So they didn't do like, somersaults across the chessboard while you're trying to play a serious game. But it occurred to me, although this isn't exactly what we do, it occurred to me this is just such a cool piece. We are still a ways away from the holidays. As a gift, if there is a chess lover in your life, couldn't you do something like this, adapt this to hooking if you wanted to, even to just hook a checkered board, make it kind of custom? I keep thinking about doing something like this. I had an idea. I'm going to come onto the camera and share the idea with you. I'll do the hit or miss thing too. Um, I had this idea a while back and I haven't done it, so it's up for grabs. But um, Judith Conti, remember, her piece really reminded me. Do I have an eraser? Do I have an eraser? I guess my hand will be the eraser in this case. If you were going to do a chessboard and you were going to hook it, let's say you already had the chess pieces, right? And you're thinking, um, I have the chess pieces, or I found the chess pieces, or we have those already, but I do want to hook part of it as a gift or something special. What you could do, just to make the part that you make more special, is, I'm going to get the number wrong here, but say this is the checkerboard in the center, right? You would hook that. And then you could have two areas on both sides, right? That you could also hook. So I thought about this a while back. I thought about this for some reason while I was watching the Barbie movie at a drive-in with my kids. I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do like a checkerboard with like Barbie heads, like doll heads, or like broken heads on dolls, or something, like the boys and the girls or whatever. It would be tricky, better for checkers. This could work for checkers too, right? But I was thinking at the time, what if it was like, what if I hooked the checkerboard like all in pink, and here's Barbie, and she's got, perfect boobs, legs, whatever. She's got her little high heels on, whatever, and she's got her hair all perfect, and she's got to have some clothing on. What if I hooked her there, and maybe Ken is over here, looking more manly and whatever. Looks like Frankenstein, but he's manly in his own way. Blah blah blah. But just the idea of having a checkerboard or chessboard, and then the pieces can rest on, just to give you more to hook, right? Instead of just the central motif, giving you more to hook. Um, Putting something on the sides, right, would make a really nice gift. I want to erase this because let's pause for a second. I have a lot more gallery to do. Oh, good. I found a tissue. God knows where that came from, but let's go for it. I just want to say this because this was Diane. I think you had this question on Friday. You said, because you were about to hook some stuff and you were noticing, that was the last slide I have of Judy's. You were noticing that Judy did a lot with background fills, like big background fills. And you said, marble cake. You said, how can I get a good marble cake fill? um, how can I do that, right? If with a large area. So I just wanted to I'll do a little refresher thing here just for a minute. Ideas for marble cake fills, because I did have I think I had a class on this possibly. I definitely had a hook along. And my memory of the hook along was that it was hours and hours, but I think I also did a class on hit or miss, which would give you a lot of detail on different kind of fills that you could do. But let's just say, in terms of doing a marble cake background, let's experiment with four different kinds of fills, just for the sake of reviewing and being practical. Let's say I'm doing a pumpkin, right? Like it's a Halloween thing. I'm doing a pumpkin, and here he is in four places. And let's come up with four different kinds of fills that you could do hit or miss slash marble cake. Marble cake is only one of them, to fill that background space. So there we go. So let's for this one start with, let's not do marble cake first. That will be probably the last one. Let's say I'm compartmentalizing my hit or miss. So I'm creating little, let's say, hurricanes, little tornadoes. And so I will section off areas of it like a Mexican mola kind of thing. And I will work those areas in hit or miss, section by section. You see this a lot in early hit or miss because people were always playing chicken with their colors. and as soon as they would run out of a color, um, they would just change color moving to the next section. But pieces, hooked pieces that are done in hit or miss in this fashion, right? Sections of hit or miss, they tend to be very geometric in the background. So for me, this kind of a fill would be like a geometric hit or miss fill, right? That's one of the options. I'll put this on the bottom in case you have the volume down. Hit or miss fills. Now, so that would be a geometric, right? This would be, let's say, like basic ones, like typewriter. You've got you're going to do it. This is a directional one, so you're going to do like as much of that one. You know, you've got your strips, and some of them are shorter, and you go as long as you can with each one, and you just fill as you go. It does have a directional flow, right? Because it's all in one direction. Can you change the direction? Yeah, of course you can change the direction. If you wanted to do this, it might make sense to do it with like a log cabin feel where you and then you start going down this side like this, and then you start coming up this side like this, and maybe you're in this side like this, right? So if you're afraid you're going to run out of your colors or whatever, and then in the background, you probably want to do all one direction, or maybe you want to keep the hit or miss going, right? It's up to you how you want to do it. For this one, let's do echo because echo is another. So this is I would call that typewriter. You go as long as you can with your strip, unless you do something like the log cabin, you're just going until you run out, like a basket weave, right? You just keep going and going and going, right? Let's call that typewriter. We call this geometric. We're calling this typewriter. Let's call this one echo. I think that's the term I used for it in the hit or miss class. Echo literally means like you throw a stone in the water and you are hooking around the edge of your shape. And then you're hooking around it again. And then you're hooking around and around and around until you run out of space, right? So it makes an echo. There's like waves that radiate from the center motif. This is good for simple motifs. This is not good for when you have a ton of different motifs on the move, right? This is good for simple motifs because everything radiates from that one point or from that focal point. And if you really want people to focus on that motif, this is a great way to do it, right? Because people are going to look at that and go, oh yeah, perfect. That's what I mean to do. That's what I want to do. I want to really draw emphasis to that piece. Marble cake is the most what word do I want to use? It's in my mind the most difficult to plan because I don't think you can really plan marble cake. Marble cake is a background fill that depends more on using similar colors for it to look like a marble cake than it does how you hook it, right? You could essentially do marble cake with any background fill. We normally see marble cake done in this kind of like a geometric, but a lot looser, right? So you tend to see marble cake, the emphasis is the color. And the reason it's called marble cake is because historically and traditionally it's done in different shades of brown, like marble bread or marble cake, right? So the color is, I think, the most important thing with marble cake. Can you do a switcheroony and say, I don't want to do it in browns, I want to do it in antique blacks? Do it. Can you still call it marble cake? I don't know. This is one of these rug hooking mysteries, right? It's very contentious talking about these things because people will say, well, no, of course you can't. The term marble cake refers to the color, right? I don't know. I don't know. But at the end of the day, yeah, you could do a marble cake fill with any color. But I think the point of marble cake is to choose all the same color family. So, for example, if you had a bunch of door swatches or something like that, you had a lot of same colors, same type colors, that would make a good marble cake, particularly if it was in browns, right? That would be the true marble cake. Now, marble cakes are typically a combination of geometric and echo. That's what we see most because marble cake is a true hit or miss fill. This stuff is planned. You can use it for hit or miss, but it's planned. Marble cake traditionally is not planned. You're just hoping you can stretch your materials so that you can finish that background. So what we see, marble cake is a historic fill. What we see with antique rugs is usually a combination of echo and geometric. So you'll normally see somebody start an area like this. And why do you think we'd see an a localized area like that, why do you think we'd see someone starting and filling in like that as much as they can? I'm going to pause for a second while you guess. I think there's two common sense reasons why this would happen, and I know there's a delay. One of them would be that you are working on a frame, a large frame. You're probably working on a large frame if this is an antique rug, and it might just be something like a needlework frame that's just stretchers that's laying out between your kitchen table because it's after dinner and the back of a chair. And it's a big frame, and you're sitting at the frame and you're working that corner because that's where the chair is. Likewise, it could be that you're working this corner and it's a bee situation, right? It's a hooking bee. Someone else is working over here, someone else is working over here, maybe someone's here, someone's here, someone's here. Also possible, right? When you see background fills with antique rugs and they're done in very different styles and even different cuts, even different materials, sometimes you wonder, was this a bee situation where there are different women sitting around all the different parts of it and they were filling it in as they went? Because if you're sitting there and you know you have done 130 things already today, this is your happy time with your neighbor friends, and it's not going to last very long. And then you're going to have to go to bed because you're going to have to be up at a stupid hour, right? You don't have that much time. You're not going to spend a lot of time repositioning the frame and moving yourself around. You're going to sit in your seat and just, whether you're alone or with friends, you're going to work that area as long as you can and make the most of the time. So with marble cake, we tend to see work done in sections. And I literally think it's either a bee or it's someone just moving their chair to different points and going, this is what I can reach tonight, and just filling it in as best they can. And when I say echo, we tend to make lines around it and segment like geometric style, away from whatever the main motifs are. Of course, if it's this kind of a rug, right? Like let's say it's this kind of a rug. It's going to work differently, isn't it? Right? And if we've got different people or it's just you moving your chair, let's say you've got typewriter in the border, that's what you've done for the whole border. You're probably, if you're sitting here, going to section this off because you can reach it. And you're just going to fill that in all willy nilly. And then you're going to move your chair here and then fill this in all willy nilly. So it is a little bit like geometric, but geometric in my mind for a contemporary fill is more like a Mexican mola. If you don't know that term, you should check it out because that's a great term. That's a great source of inspiration to pull from. But these are some of the fills that one might do, right? And marble cake is, I think, the most authentic way to do marble cake is just don't move your piece on the frame, right? If you want to do it really authentic, use as many browns as you can, light colors and browns, like light brown family, and neutrals, like ivories, whites, creams, that kind of thing. Move your frame as infrequently as possible and fill it in as you go along. And don't be precious about it. And I think you're going to find that you have got areas where you've got more reach. And so you've got the same direction going for farther. And there's other areas where you turn your frame or whatever, it's a bit more awkward. It's hard to get, it's hard to hook in that area. So maybe you're doing smaller stretches, right? Smaller runs of color. I hope that makes sense. So we can always talk about that again. I want to get to more gallery night, but I realized when we logged off that the thing shut down our connection before I was able to give a response about what is marble cake and how do you do marble cake. Jan says, yes, I want to try to marble cake all over this background. Thanks for showing this. Sure thing. Jessica says, I'm wondering if I use marble cake in some of my rugs when I do hit or miss backgrounds. You definitely do, Jessica. Without a doubt, you do. You tend to do like colorful stuff, but you would be doing marble cake in just a different color. And again, we might not immediately think marble cake because if you have it in like periwinkle or fuchsia or something, pinks, we might not immediately think marble cake. But when we're talking about technique and we're talking about looking at the way that you have done the fill, right, filled that background, the term marble cake might come up because we might say, well, look at the way you've done this, right? This is just a hit or miss fill background. This is a marble cake background, except it's not in browns, right? So we should get used to using that term because it is a rug hooking term. These other terms I used are terms that I made up, right? So they're not in the language yet. And if you use them to someone else, they might be descriptive terms, but no one's going to know what you're talking about. So I think marble cake is the best one to further, because it has already existed for 100 and something years. And certainly marble cake backgrounds had a huge renaissance in the 1920s and 30s when the Mercedes, not Mercedes, Mercedes and James Hutchinson, when the Hutchinsons did their rugs from their little spot in Brooklyn, right? All of those backgrounds are marble cake. Sometimes they're browns, but more often they're like blacks and grays. So, because they're using like suiting and clothing materials to complete the backgrounds, or at least their workers are. So, yeah, interesting to talk about marble cake. And now we'll notice it, right? As we look at some of these other entries for gallery night, now we're going to notice it more. So let's come back over here, and a huge thank you to the Conti family, and a huge sort of thank you, immemorial sort of sending love and gratefulness to Judith, who in her lifetime completed so many rugs that still give us so much inspiration that it's crazy. Now, why is that one not coming on? Doesn't matter. All right. Am I having problems? Am I having problems? I am starting to panic because now my slides aren't coming up. Oh, Karen, I have your slide here and it's not coming up. Let me unlock and make sure there's not something. This is your cat. Hang tight with me for a second. I'm going to attempt to add a slide while we are live. I've done it before and I can do it again. We'll do a quick talk amongst yourselves while I try to get this piece of media into the slideshow. And Karen, I know you've done a newer one since. I didn't have time. I was out literally all day today. I didn't have time to go back for that, but I saw it. But I can show this if I can find it. Hold on while I look for the folder. I bet we'll get there in the end. If not, I'll be very disappointed. Now hang on, something is going. Oh, shoot. I'm on my husband's computer so we don't glitch. What is the deadline for the Winter Magpie? I would say the first week of October would be great. Let me see if I can do it this way. It's not going to work. I'm on the wrong computer, so classic. Karen, I'm going to pull up your more recent one. Let me see. This isn't going to be as good, but maybe we get some close-ups in a minute. Karen was working on her Rhea cat, right? The Rhea rug cat. So I want to share that with you. Let me see if I can find Rhea cat. God, my heart hurts all the time lately. I wonder if I should go to the heart doctor. I feel like I'm always having like palpitations or something. Is that like menopause, or am I actually having a problem? Okay, let's see. Let me do Rhea. Karen, that should, oops, got to spell it right, right? Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to let this go. Oh, please don't tell me this is going to, okay, here we go. If I can't get this in focus, I'm going to abort mission. But let me show this as a starting point. And I'm going to hold until I get it in focus because I really want this right. This is not ideal. Sort of in focus. I've got some other photos of it. Let me come a little bit closer. Sorry for the picture of the picture. There we go. So this is the picture we're talking about. I'm going to walk you through it. It might be that this picture is a little bit later in the slideshow too. And that is finished, Karen. That's finished. Almost, right? I think that's finished. Oh, that's because that's the one I just pulled up. So, okay, so let's see what you gave me for this. I'm hoping some of the other photos work. I don't know why that photo didn't work. Let's see. Let me come back over here, and I lost my place. Well, certainly that's not what we're looking for. Wow. Sorry, hold on, everybody. Jessica, that was one of yours. I'm going to have to resize some of these. Okay, I'm there. I'm almost there. Let me check the one before. Sorry, struggle. Struggle is real. Okay, so it's this one I want to open, and I'm going to resize this for you. Sorry about the resizing. It really has been beyond crazy. So Karen, you are kind enough to show us your process here. So this is, remember, Rhea rugs are a different form altogether. This is a knotting form that dates to the earlier 20th century. I forget, maybe 20s, 30s kind of thing. And it had a renaissance in like the 60s, 70s. Pre-latch hook. Latch hook kind of killed the Rhea rug form. Not completely. And remember Melinda Bird of Bird Call Studios. I'd recorded 2 videos with her a few years ago when I went to Maryland to meet with her. She was absolutely amazing. Would you be willing to make just a marble cake demo video someday? Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Next time I do a marble cake background, I'll just record it, and that should help. Oh, you know what else? Karen, I'll be right back on this. You know what else? Um, damn it, I wish I had a pen. See if I have a pencil. See if that. I'm just going to write this down. So let me just do demo marble cake, and pen is out of ink. And somebody asked today, let's see if you can help me with this. Um, South Africa, she's in Mavis, in South Africa, said, she posted in the Facebook group and she wrote to me and said, can, is there a video or can we get a video of needle felting onto rug hooking? Does anybody who's near me do that? Because if you're like in one of the New England states or New York, if you're tri-state or New England, I would drive to you to record a video. I would love to be able to offer a video of that. I don't want to deal with that myself. I don't want to look for my needle felting stuff. I'd rather hop in the car. It's just, it's too much right now. But if somebody anywhere near me does that, I would definitely come to you to record a video. That's another one. Isn't it fun when pens are out of ink? It's like, it's almost as fun as when the printer's out of ink. I enjoy them both immensely. But anyway, please let me know, send me a message if anyone is kind of close, and we might be able to do that together, because that's another thing. Mavis is not the first person who has asked for that. So let's try to get that done soon too. So if you're interested in Rhea rugs, remember that those videos are there from Bird Call, that's Bird with a Y, Call Studio. Karen has done quite a bit with the Rhea rug, experimenting. Karen, you have hooked into linen backing with a latch hook to do Rhea rugs, right? Using authentic and vintage Rhea rug wool. You have done all kinds of sort of sideways and parallel experimentation, and why not? I understand that officially Melinda loves it when people do the true blue authentic Rhea rug with wool on this backing. But I also think that what Karen has done in the past, this is Rhea rug backing. If you can see the sort of lines, right, the empty lines with the needle holes, this is Rhea rug backing. But Karen has hooked into linen and kind of blazed the trail for us that way. In my mind, I understand wanting to keep the craft pure and forever, but at the same time, isn't it great if you don't have Rhea rug backing near you or access to it or a budget for it at this moment? Cecile, great to see you. Cecile says, I believe I saw felting combined with rug hooking in one of the solder photos or videos. Ooh, interesting. That might be a good one to tag or to place into the question that Mavis was asking. That is in our group, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. I'll look for that later. Thanks, Cecile. Cecile, I was going to say, you're in Canada. I'll come, but it won't be this week. That's a great comment. I'll look for that too. I think it is important and sensible to, if you are interested in a sister form or an adjacent craft, as we say these days, Rhea rugs are one of them. But if you are a purist and doing it the old school way, this is the backing. It comes in different widths, so you cannot change the width of your piece. You can't cut it or trim it. You cannot change it. You choose the width you want, and you can alter it height-wise. You can make it, you have to choose an existing width, right? It's a woven with these lines built into it. And you can choose top to bottom what your sizing is going to be. But it is not like rug hooking backing where you just go, I'm gonna take an inch off, or I'm gonna add some burlap and add to it. It doesn't work like that with Rhea rugs. So Karen here is working on a traditional Rhea backing, and you can get these from Melinda Bird. And she has drawn her Rhea cat with the border. And you can see this is on grid paper, graph paper. And you need to know where you're going to put the knot. So this looks more like a cross stitch pattern. This works. This works for us as rug hookers. This works for cross stitchers. This might work for you if you're a knitter. This kind of information that we're seeing in front of us would work for many different crafts, and Rhea rugging is one of those crafts. So, God, there we go. I was going to say, please let the next photo work. So here we go. This is great. I feel better. I'll even make it a little bit bigger. This is an in progress image of Karen working on it. So she's got, what you're seeing here is the Rhea backing, and you can see the sides are finished. And that's why I say you can cut it top to bottom, but side to side, it's woven, right? It's holding itself together. You can't cut the sides of it. So this is how wide it must be, this wide, and it will be finished on the edges side to side as you go because you're working right up to the edges. And what you're doing is this knotting technique of working the Ria rug, and you're cutting it to the same pile. And because it goes staggered row to row, and there is a little bit of a jump between the rows, because of that, when you look at the surface of the Ria, you see it is quite staggered. Like you see different heights, right? And that's because of the different rows. If you are maniacally precise about the length that you're cutting it, then it will look like a little bit of a shag, like a mowed lawn, line to line to line to line. If you're just doing it by eye, it will look like this, a more of a shag without the lines built in. I'm not a fan of the lines built in. I'm more of a fan of just getting the knots worked and then trimming it. Trimming it as you go, and you can always trim again later. This is just what a Ria rug is supposed to look like. Karen also has the block on the top left. That's like a wooden block. You have all of these dull tipped needles where you keep pre-cut lengths of the colors that you're using. And because it's like a knitting machine, when you do the color in that row and then you refer back to your pattern and you say to yourself, okay, that's the last orange knot, I need to switch to white, you want to cut off, put away your orange yarn, get and grab your white. But if you keep rethreading your needle, it's going to be a huge time pig, isn't it? It's better if you have a bunch of needles and you have different colors in each needle, and you can just put the needle there and grab it in 2 minutes when you come to that color again, right? If you keep all your needles on the go already threaded, it's going to save you a lot of time. So that is why in Ria Melinda sells these blocks, because it makes a lot of sense time wise, and it's not, the block isn't particularly expensive and the needles aren't particularly expensive. And I'm so glad that was surprising. That was a surprising transition, wasn't it, Jessica? Um, Melinda sells all these accessories. The block is not essential, right? You could keep a bunch of threaded needles on the move without the block. But it's interesting to think about because if there's one thing as crafters that we love, it is to spend money on accessories, right? That is for sure. So I'm transitioning now to, oh, I'm sorry, Karen, I didn't read out what you wrote. Let me read it now. Karen said, I'm currently taking a little break from rug hooking by keeping my hands and creative brain busy doing applique and quilting as well as tying knots on my original designed Ria rug. The quilting piece is, oh, I don't have the quilting piece. I wonder if that was in the first photo. For some reason, the photo won't play here. Let me mark that section off because I can show it on a later episode. I don't know if it's probably not the pictures. For some reason, it's just the way it's saved because the other pictures worked. So I'll check the format and all that, and I'll show that the next time your 18 by 18 pillow kit. I think that's the one that I am missing. The Ria rug is an original design. Normally, a Ria rug design is much more abstract than what I've created, but I'm stretching the bounds of what is successful as a Ria rug piece and what isn't. Karen, that's a great point, and that's something that's worth talking about because the reason that Ria rugs are usually very abstract is because the height of the pile is such that the piece becomes quite pixelated. And when a piece becomes pixelated, it's very hard to read. There's no room for nuances, there's no room for detail. So the cat was a great choice because it is a familiar silhouette. You did a lot with color changing within the cat, but it was a bold enough silhouette of a cat that we look at it and we say, that's a cat, right? Without being all confused. Is it a top hat? Is it a praying mantis? No, it's a cat, right? That's very clear. So that's a great point. And that's a great sort of philosophy too, pushing the boundaries with a Ria rug format. How far can you go with a literal motif, a cat, as opposed to something abstract? How far can you push that? That is an interesting question. I don't know the answer. It would differ from piece to piece. It would also depend on the success of your colors as you go, right? That matters a lot, that the colors are strong, strong contrast. You also want that Ria color palette, right? Ria rugs have that sort of 70s color palette historically. It can be mixed, but we do see a lot of oranges and purples and greens and things like that in Ria rugs. We don't see them as often as hooked rugs, but there is a sort of 60s, 70s palette that kind of goes hand in hand with the Rhea rug form. So it's interesting and exciting that you chose a palette that is familiar to me Rhea rug wise, but you did a motif that really does stretch the boundaries of what Rhea can do, and it is successful because you can immediately tell that it is a cat. Karen also says, I've included a photo of the Rhea piece I'm working on, which shows the wooden block with all of the needles with the 3 or 4 strands of yarn. Yep, 3 or 4 strands of yarn in each one. And of course, with your strands of yarn, it doesn't have to be 3 of the same color, right? Same thing as we've been talking about lately with hooking. There is this trend. If you're working with pre-cut yarn, right, you could, for example, do blend by saying, I've got one needle that has 3 oranges. I've got another needle that has 2 oranges and 1 yellow. I've got another needle that has 2 yellows and 1 orange. I've got another needle that has 1 yellow, 1 orange, and 1 green, right? And it just goes on and on and on. And that's how you do your blending with this kind of fine sort of color shift. And it's the needle that's doing the work. Once you logic it out, it's the needle that's doing the work for you. It's like, oh, mind blown. No, once you get going, it's easy to figure out. That's a great point, and that's great. The block is great for that too because they're sitting there looking at you. Of course, somebody could make a block for you too, right? You just get a block of wood and just bore holes into it so that your needle is sticking out partway. That works too. Let me catch up where I am here. Nuts. I've also included a photo of the graphed image. Yeah, that was fantastic. One little rectangle represents a knot, which occupies 2 holes of the backing. There we go. I'll be writing, okay, great. I'll be writing an article for Magpie for the winter issue where I will go into more depth and detail. Fantastic. Um, I'm on the wrong. Yes, no, Karen, that was still you. Karen, that was still you, right? Karen, that was you. That was you that wrote that last bit too. Sorry, I'm transitioning to Jessica, who also always has something on the go for Magpie. But Karen, I'm pretty sure that was you. And that is very welcome indeed. That is very welcome. So, okay, so we're coming to Jessica now. Jessica says, before I show you that photo again, hello everyone. I've been hooking a lot because I've been on vacation and all the kids are off and getting everything ready for back to school. But here are some of the projects that I've been working on. Okay, here we go. Get ready. I'll make it a little bit smaller. Sorry about that. It's a fun photo. It's a fun photo to transition to. Let me come here and just, I always forget now that we solved our glitching problem, it does mean I have to use another computer. And in doing so, my formatting is sometimes right, but sometimes wrong. I don't know why, because I just don't understand the magic of the internet. So, Jessica, you were working on a rather splendid bag. Gail, great to see you in Australia. It's been a while, my love. It's great to see you. It's Monday morning for you. Happy Monday morning. Oh, Ruth, great to see you. Hello to you and Richard. Hello in Missouri. Great to see you. Let me see if I can find the right spot here, Jessica. I have an absolute weak spot for works in progress. You know you do, don't you? You are like maybe your archetype is like a savior. You go in and you rescue things that are languishing, right? You really do. You've done this with a bunch of my pieces. I just love it. You do it with other pieces you find. You love picking up something and finishing it from where it's left off and putting your own spin on it, which is really always so special and unique. You write, I found a partially crocheted blanket. Oh, stop it. Oh, that was a blanket. For a couple of dollars at a thrift store and decided to make it into a bag. I folded it, I'm guessing you folded it in half, sewed the seams together. Oh my God. Then finished the edge and made loops on the side for a strap. How easy is that? Because that's a strap, right? And you see straps all over the place now because there's so many kinds of bags that have interchangeable straps. That is so much more sensible to me than crocheting or knitting a strap, right? Because the strap stretches out. This strap is not going to stretch out. Makes a great bag for a project. I used it on vacation. It was perfect for the road trip. This is so smart. And the reason I hesitated was because I got sad for a second because I realized that not that long ago I threw away this beautiful blanket that I had started knitting while I was in the Netherlands, and I didn't finish and I didn't have the yarn anymore, and I'd gotten quite far and I got really triggered for whatever reason, and I just threw it out. And now I wish that I had saved it because I would have absolutely done this with it. This is a great idea. What a fun piece. I wonder, I think you might have sent me another. This is a great idea when because you do see these. You see finished blankets, you see blankets in progress. Make this a little bit smaller too. I think this is a really smart idea. Why did it take so long to have straps so readily available? I know there were always some straps available, but lately I see straps all the time. I mean, for God's sake, do you remember in the 80s and 90s how many kinds of watches had different bands? You could change the watch to a different band. Or do you remember those round things that you snapped onto the front of the watch so your watch could be a different color based on what you were wearing? Why did it take us so long to do this with like purse straps? So strange. This was really smart. And I love your idea of putting loops, attaching a strap that won't stretch out. Blanket is a nice big body to it. You're stitching up the sides, right? It's very stylish. Looks like you added some pom-poms. This is just a really great idea. I love how you are such a magpie, and you see things and you think of ways to be able to use them. And this is going to be another one of those. Let me make this smaller too. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of this in the next few minutes because I was gone and I just came back today. We were out all day again today. The kids were desperate to go to the Berkshires, and I came back just in time to figure out what I had screwed up with my dyeing and not to do anything on the show. So, okay, so you're going to transition us to another conversation here. I just knew it. Oh, Evie made the pom poms. That sweetheart. Give her a kiss for me. Not even a hug, but a kiss. That sweetheart. I hope I can see her again soon. She is just the cutest button. Okay, so other projects. The kids and I painted rocks. Um, Painted rocks while we were on vacation, and I've been decorating. Oh, you've been decorating the kids' folders with Sharpies and paint markers. My oldest has been interested in everything Lord of the Rings lately. I remember that because one of your rugs, one of your Christmas present rugs, had the Lord of the Rings flavor, right? It had that sort of dragony flavor to it. These are the three of my favorites that I painted. All right, so I'm thinking that this is something that like, I forget what that big notebook brand is that they put out. But no, this is you being an amazing mom and doing great work creating these. This is a great rug design too, obviously, right? This is so great. And this mom, when was The Lord of the Rings written? Like the 1940s? Is it like the 40s? I'm wondering if everything about it, I mean, not that it matters, because your stuff is like for your family. It's not commercial patterns. Um, let's look at the other ones that you did. You are such a great mom. Man, you are upping the ante. Oh, well, 5 star, 5 star. There we go. These are the most customized 5 stars I have ever seen. The kids are going to be so happy and proud. Jessica, you do so well with the design because this isn't like your usual motif. You are very adaptive because your kids like such different things. But your drawings and designing has been, I mean, it just gets better and better. It was always great, but you're showing strength in so many different styles right now. And yeah, this is not stuff that's intuitive, is it? This is stuff that is, yeah, not. Now hold on, wait a minute, I'm going to make this smaller. I see there's a bag here. This is a big one. Hold on, let me get this quite small. And great balrog, that's got to be a character, right, that we just looked at. I think I have the third one a little bit later. They somehow got out of order. Sorry, let me just pull this down a little bit. I saw something here. Oh, it's another bag. Here, let me make it just a little bit smaller yet. God. Oh, I remember this piece. Okay. Oh, I don't have text on this piece, but I remember this piece. This, Jessica, was this you? Was this you and your dad? Like on a trip? Oh, Kirsten, great to see you. You did make it. I know you're having a busy night over there. So glad you made it. Jessica, I remember you hooked this piece. I feel like this is you as a little girl on a family vacation, and it looks like you turned this piece into a bag, and it looks fabulous as a bag. You attached it to the front. That is really smart, and it looks great. And yet, just remind me because I remember seeing this piece in a previous gallery night, and I had no idea you were going to turn it into an accessory. You probably didn't have that idea either. And yeah, I don't know how you do it because I mean you've got four, right? You've got four little ones. I've only got two, and mine are a little bit older. Of course, I am much older myself, but you have such sort of bandwidth for like tuning into the stuff they're doing. So this is another one of your designs for one of their going back to school covers. Oh, I was wrong. This is you and your husband hiking. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and you're just little because you're in the distance, right? Um, now it's coming back to me. Now that's right. That's right. This wasn't honeymoon, but this was an important trip, wasn't it? I feel like there was something monumental about it, like it was a landmark moment in my mind, anyway. Yeah, there's something about the way that you are able to connect, relate to the kids, and it seems all of the busyness and all of the designing and all of the projects and the UFOs seems to really keep you sharp working on different stuff like this. This is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't know how to begin working on a composition like this. I think I'd have to have the kids start it for me. You are really good. I love the color 10-year anniversary. There we go. I love the color change and the highlighting in the monster's body, and I just love the feel of the water. It's like hands and fingers. I just love it. There's such aggressive grabbing going on with the monster, but also the water feels like it's grabbing too. It's very, very good. It's a quite scary scene, but it's not like grotesque, right? It's like, oh, that looks like a bad day. I hate it when that happens. Fantastic. I hope the kids aren't going back to school too soon. I know some kids are already going back to school because of different regions and weather and stuff like that. But I'm hoping that they have a little bit more time. It comes up so quickly. I know my two are like they're counting down the days in their misery. Oh God, did you do these too? You did, didn't you? Just their compass. You are unbelievable. You are unbelievable. These are going to be so much fun for them to use. Wow, I love them all. I particularly love the one with the trees and the landscape. That is really beautiful. And this is just a great idea for us as well. If anybody has a special notebook that you jot your ideas down, or things you want to remember, or just your to do list or your shopping list, it's a great idea to try to decorate the cover like this, right? I mean, why not? Do something that's going to make it special every time you pick up your workbook or your notebook or whatever. Now let me make this smaller. Jessica, those are so beautiful. So beautiful. I'm so happy for the kids. They are living their best life, aren't they? So happy for them. I have to say, I don't. Your kids are so much. Not that my kids are not nice. They are nice. But if I drew stuff for them on their thing, I used to draw on their sandwich bags and stuff, and they were like, "Mom, can you stop?" Oh, these are the rocks you were working on. They won't allow me my whimsies anymore. So yeah, yours are a little bit younger. What kind of pens do you use? Kirsten wants to know. And these rocks are so fun too. Decorate everything around you, right? Color your world. So much fun to do stuff like this. It's like just more color, more fun, more surprises. I know it's a thing lately, and my mom was doing this a little bit, decorating rocks and putting them upside down in unexpected places, right? So people sit down, they're like, oh, there's a big rock on the beach. What's this doing here? And they flip it over and it's got like a painting on it. I've seen people also painting rocks, kind of like a geocaching thing, and leaving them places. And then if you flip it over, it says, it has directions like bring this rock to, your favorite, like, hiking trail or to your favorite view, and then the rock keeps moving. And I think that it's just so nice. I've seen people like take photos of rocks like this that they find and put them up on social media and stuff, and then move the rock to their place, and the rock just keeps going and going, and the rock travels. And it would be really fun to find that you find a rock that you once painted that is now across the country or even in a different country. I mean, it happens, right? Super fun. Really fun. Okay, let me see. Oh, I think we're moving. Jessica, thank you for sending all those fun things. Vacation looks great with you and the family. I love everything that you're working on, all the fun things you're doing with the notebooks and salvaging that bag and turning it into a nice purse. Oh, you're always coming up with the best ideas. You know, it's almost like I think like if you take a leap of faith with me and say like, what if there is a past life? You would be the person who works for one of these magazines and like comes up and like not exactly like Magpie Times, but one of these Women's Day magazines that comes up with like a million ideas for every issue, like different ideas, ideas that have to do with every sort of area of life. That would be you. Thank you so much for sending those. Now, Lorna sent us these. Lorna Vogel, thank you so much. Beautiful flowers. I love reading Lorna's name because Vogel in Dutch is bird, and I love seeing that. It reminds me of a word we used to use often. Jessica, I'm so sorry. You did write about. I screwed up. You did write about Glory in the Desert. Of course, you turned it into a bag project, made loops for the strap. Sorry about that. I missed that part. So beautiful. So Lorna has done something really different here too. If you're looking and you're thinking, "Ooh, what's going on there?" Let's figure it out. Lorna says, "Hi, Deanna. I just finished this rug about 10 minutes ago." So this was at like 4 o'clock on last Friday when she sent it. So yeah, the very last Friday. And I thought you might want to use it for gallery night. This is I do, of course. This is my own design. The big flowers were created by using an embroidery stitch called woven rose. I couched the stems, we'll talk about that in a second, of the flowers in part of the border by wrapping, here we go, wrapping cording with printed sari silk, then sewed it to the backing with, I'm getting so hungry, with embroidery floss. Did you catch that? Thank you ahead of time if you choose. Of course, I choose to, Lorna. I love to have your things in the show. And I think I do have a second picture of this. So, couching, you understand, right? She's laying down, what is she using here? She couched the stem, a piece of cording, right? And cording comes in different gauge, different sizes, different thicknesses with height, well, however you want to whatever language you want to use. But the cords come in different sizes, big fat ones, little skinny ones like pipe cleaners. And you're literally couching, it means you're moving from side to side to catch it on both sides. So, unless there's any fish left, Ariane. Is there any fish? Yeah, maybe some fish too. Sorry, planning my dinner a few minutes ahead. But you're literally, let me come back to you here since we do have the whiteboard. You're literally doing this when you're couching. You are, if this is your cord, right? Say this is a big cord, like it's a big wiggly cord, like an upholstery cord or whatever. Maybe it's a pipe cleaner. And somehow or another, whatever your technique is, you can do this with punching, with hooking, with a needle. You're literally crossing over it like this from side to side to anchor it down and hide it, right? You want to hide it. You're giving it a three-dimensional effect, right? That's what couching is. With couching, the only question is what technique do I want to use to couch, to do the couching? Traditionally, couching is a needlepoint, a needlework technique, right? Needlework, not needlepoint. And it's yarn, and you're using a needle and going side to side to catch it. But we know in the episode we did with Rebecca White Martin from Storyteller Wool, she showed us how to do it. She demonstrated doing it in one of the episodes with her with a punch needle. Can be done, right? Can be done. I think with hooking, it would be the most tricky. But I've heard of people doing it with hooking too. So that is couching. Let me come back here. Now let's stretch a little bit again, or maybe she might have showed us a close-up of this one. Let me go to the next one before I start fooling here. Fooling. Yeah, let me make this a little bit smaller and then let's see how close up we can see the flowers. Now, the flowers look to me that looks like another stitch that Rebecca showed us with a punch needle. I think you could also do it with hooking. It's the equivalent of a long stitch if you were originally a needle artist. It's a long stitch, which means you are just, I think, there might be something more going on here, but I think you could achieve this very carefully by doing, I'm going to hold, I'm going to stop the flow of noise coming out of my mouth because she's saying the big flowers were done by using an embroidery stitch. Okay, it is an embroidery stitch called the woven rose. I feel like Rebecca showed us this in Punch, but this, what Lorna did is done. You can look up the stitch that's called woven rose, right? You can look that up online and get the um, details on how to do this because this creates a great effect, doesn't it? I mean, honest to God, what a great, let me make it just a little bit smaller. What a great touch. It's very exciting. More and more, I think so many of us are looking for, to hook or punch and then do some different touches. And because I feel like that's the case, it's great to be able to put more tricks into your bag of tricks, isn't it? So this is one of those great tricks. Lorna, thank you so much. The embroidery stitch called the woven rose. Ooh, it really is fabulous, isn't it? By the way, let me come back here and say, this background, are you serious? What a great background. Is this a hit or miss background? It is a hit or miss background. Certainly not a marble cake. She has just done a sort of Escher style tessellated kind of a background, shaped out some pieces, some shapes in the background, kind of a repeat, right? It's a very sort of sharp edged leaf. It's a repeat. You can freehand something like this, particularly if you're doing it in hit or miss colors like this. And it's really it's gonna work particularly well because a couple of things, right? She has got very straight couched three-dimensional stems on the flowers. That helps a lot because while there's a bit of chaos happening in the background, the flowered stems being so rigid, it's like a skeletal frame that's holding our eye in place. Number one. Number two, right, the special embroidery stitch, the woven rose on the flowers, is so three-dimensional. It's so different. It really takes our eye away from the background. So two different techniques are helping us um, um, regard or be able to register the background as a patterned background, not as information, right? As a repeat. So the fact that it's all done in bright colors and the shapes are similar make this possible, along with the stems and the flowers. Diane's background makes me think of Dr. Seuss. I'm a weirdo though. It does have a bit of that. Oh, what was the one with that little character and all of the he was in the land where all of these puffy things on top of a tree, and someone came in and was like harvesting them, and he was afraid. Horton Hears a Who? Was that the one? He was afraid that they were going to lose all these puff flowers because they were being like over harvested. Kind of reminds me of that, the combination of the flowers and the puff shapes in the background. No, that's not weird. That totally, now that you say it, and color wise too, it is very Susie for sure. So joyful. Yeah, it really is a fun piece. Thank you, Lorna. Thank you so much for sending that. I always want to show the things that you send, so always send. And let's see. Oh gosh, what have I got? Wait a minute. What have I got going on there? Extreme close up. It might be another piece. Let me make it a little bit smaller. I think it's one more piece. Let me make it a little bit smaller so we can see context. Let's see what we can see here. This might be some of the background that we were just talking about. And I think it is, this looks punched. I think this is punched. Yeah, this is close up of the background. Don't you think? Oh, look at all the different yarns too. No, this is different. Wait a minute. This is different. Hold on, Kaz. I might have abruptly, hold on. Oh gosh, why is my computer playing me so um, stupidly tonight? Sorry about this. Gosh, what's going on? It is a corner. Could it be the same piece? Let me go back one more time. Wait a minute. I'm hoping I don't have the wrong slide. Oh no, it is a corner. It's the bottom right-hand corner for sure. Look at that. That's the bottom right-hand corner. I didn't realize that she had done such a cool binding Isn't that? Oh, you know what she did on that binding? Look at that. It's like it's the cord. Looks like it's wrapped in fabric, like quilt fabric or upholstery fabric, whatever. And then she's used that DMC floss to stitch around it. It looks like she then, or maybe she might have couched that in. It looks like it looks like 2 rows of crochet with that couched in the middle. Do you think Lorax? Yep, you're right. That is the Lorax. Um, the Lorax, Jane, you're right. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? The Lorax. Of course, Horton Hears the Hue is the elephant, right? Yeah, the color choices, Judy says, and the graphic style outlines make me think of Keith Haring. Yeah, that's another good one. The outlining for sure makes me think of Keith Haring. Yeah, you're right. That black outlining. Also, this a lot of primary colors, right? I really like this too. This is something interesting to think about. I'm sure I see crocheting, right? Do you feel the same? I hear a noise outside again. I don't want any more monkey business going on. That just took years off my life. Teddy, are you going to come say hi, my man? Beautiful piece, Lorna. Beautiful piece. I'm going to close these, and Kaz, I'm going to come to you because you have a bunch of cool things for us. Let me start making this piece smaller while my man buttons his shirt so he can make himself presentable on camera. He's coming to send his regards, right, Ted?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. I promise next time I will have all of this resizing done before the episode. Didn't have a lot of time today. We were out all day again, weren't we?
Yeah.
Hold on. Almost there.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Oh, do you want me to get buttons up as well?
Yeah, get buttons up. Let's see that cute face. Oh, this is gorgeous, Kaz. This is just gorgeous.
Well.
Okay, wait. He's coming. We've got 2 cuties coming to you on camera. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is gorgeous. Okay, hold on this beauty. And 2 beauties. Come on over, Red Rover.
Hi.
Oh my man. Oh my man. He like, Mama.
Yeah,
Just, Mama, I got, what's the green stuff in his mouth? What's he got? He's got something in his mouth. That's gross. Was he eating something green?
It's probably his food.
Oh,
you know, he has like peas in his food.
Oh, I got Bus's teeth. Oh, I got Bus though. Oh, what?
We haven't brushed his teeth in like 2 years. Look at him.
That's not quite true, but it has been a while.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's cute.
And this is the other cute one.
Yeah.
You gonna put him down?
He absolutely decimated the door earlier today.
I found the shirt for Teddy. There you go. You're getting your highs.
Here.
There we go. I found the shirt for him at an antique store this past week when I was with Joss. Teddy didn't come with us. It was just me and Joss. I thought it's so handsome, right? It fits his Hawaiian theme. It's got a little bit of blue and turquoise, the little stamens and the flower there.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I had something here.
Oh, you have something in there. We had a nice day.
No. I already.
Yeah, we went to the Berkshires. We dropped Joss off at a Pokemon thing with her papa.
Love you, Mom.
And love you too, Ted. And me and Teddy tore off and we looked at some stores. And let me just readjust this. And we had a great day. And then, of course, we had a nice meal. Oh, it was fantastic. And he had a nice chocolate cake. So he had a good time. He had a good day. Oh, thank you all. He's such a good boy. He's such a sweetie. So, okay, so let me come back. Kaz. Oh, so Kaz says, how have you been? I have been caught up with a new puppy. So I missed last week's gallery night. I'm happy I can still submit for this Sunday. Yeah, the power outage. And you say this first rug is from the challenge pattern called Semi Quincentennial by Terry Schaefer at Shepherd's Wool in Eagle River, Wisconsin. Terry Schaefer. We always talk about her, right? This is a gorgeous pattern. Cass says she provided black line patterns for hooking, punching, and embroidery. So you pick your favorite method. Cass says I used Oxford needles sizes number 13 and 14 and added some Proddy and Quillies. Oh, Gail, thank you. I'll tell him. He is a best boy. He is such a good boy. I just love this piece. Kaz, I'm so curious. Will you know how other people filled it out? Like, will you be able to see the results of other people's work? Like, you punched it, but will you be able to see if anybody did it like as an embroidery piece or something, or everyone just takes it away and then it's gone? Absolutely love what you did. You are turning you already were, but since you've done your Oxford certification, you are doing so much variety with different kinds of techniques. And I love seeing that. I see lots of height differences here, lots of interest, right? The quillies, the sheep looks like he's hooked, punched a little bit higher. So do the years. So does the pole. I love this design. Terry does a great job, doesn't she? I, Kaz, I really love the patterning in the house. I love the way that that Tweety yarn came out in the roof, but the tree is absolutely gorgeous. Real, I'm telling you, I'm hearing things outside again. This is crazy. We did see Lumpy the bear the other day. He was in our yard a couple days ago, and that's why I'm alert because, yeah, he was out there walking down the driveway a couple of days ago. I love the different greens in the tree and the kind of energy and motion that the tree has. You did this so well. Seeing that light color on top of the darker color really gives it a fabulous effect, doesn't it? And I love the sort of swirly background. So cool. What Terry has done pattern wise is so smart because we see a lot of house patterns like in our lives, right? But I love the way that this one is blocky. The background is all swirly. Kaz, I'd be curious to know, is the background of the pattern swirly or is that something that you added? And because I love the swirls in contrast to the blockiness of the very blocky flag and the very blocky house. There is tension and drama in seeing all of the swirls right alongside all of this structure, right? It creates a lot of interest. You added the swirls. Kaz, this piece, I feel, really needed the swirls. The swirls in the trees, the swirls in the sky, the swirls in the quilly. I think it elevates it from being a piece that is just sort of waiting to be a primitive piece to being a piece that really has a lot of interest, right? And as a primitive piece, it would also be great, but this piece has a lot of interest. You have taken this to the next level and the level beyond. This is a magnificent piece. Kaz says she is exhibiting soon. All of the pieces have been submitted, and I'm hoping to see them there. Maybe, Kaz, you take photos so we can look at them too. Dan says Starry Starry Night goes American. Absolutely, right? I was thinking the same thing. You see swirls in the sky and you think Starry Starry Night. It is so beautiful, Jessica. It is so beautiful. Swirls add so much. You know, sometimes, and Kaz, you're very, very good at this because you're such a creative person. You have an artist's mind. Um, Sometimes it's good to just, before you get cranking on everything, to just step back and think about what little touches you might do in completing your fills, right? A hooked piece is just fills, unless you're doing a very technical piece. What is the house going to be? What's the ground going to be? By the way, I also love the warmth in the ground. I love that it's a warm green and the warm yellow, and that there's flecks of sort of autumn colors. Because while it looks kind of like a summer sky, and we've got that sort of patriotic, brings us to the 4th of July, the ground feels like autumn to me. And the winds make me question the season. So to me, it's a year-round piece. You know, some primitives are like very rooted in autumn or in winter. But this is to me like something that you could keep up year-round. You've done a really, you've made a lot of smart decisions with colors. I think this is just a fabulous piece. Get ready. I'm going to have to resize again for these last ones. Sorry about that. Oh no, don't tell me I'm having another format problem. Hold on, what's going on? Okay, well, that one's not coming through. This one is coming through. I hope I didn't miss a really good one. Or maybe it was just, I never know if the one that I missed is actually a slide or if the program is putting in like a blank. You know what I mean? So look what's happening here. I hope I don't have these in the wrong order. I think I do have them in the wrong order. Hold on one second while I move around for a second. Um, Hold on 1 minute and let me come back to that because I think we are on this segment. I'm going to hold on that one too, where we're talking about indigo. Is that right? Let me just choose which one will be. Yeah, I think I need to come all the way here. Yep, I think I need to come here, Kaz. I don't want to screw this up because you showed, I think we're about to see Sola. I saw a sweet little soft ear. Don't let me screw the order of this up, Kaz. Tell me if I'm doing this the wrong way. I just put them in order, but they might have been in the reverse order for me, you know, in my stupidity. Let's see what she's got going here. I think we're going to see some plants and some growing, and I think you're going to see a new buddy who is going to melt your heart. I've already seen the new buddy, and he is, oh my God, get ready for some heart melting. Holy mackerel, Kaz. Oh God, is he cute. So, okay, so let's see. Um, oh, okay, gosh, Kaz, I wonder if the slide that wouldn't open is the Robin Whitford one. I'm going to mark that one off too because it could be that was the image that wouldn't open. And if so, I'll look at that later this week in a later episode. So I'm so sorry about that. I don't know, Karen and Kaz, I had two issues with opening, and it's not your stuff. Your stuff is great. It's got to be me on my end, but I will not squander those. I'll put those into a later episode. Cass says, I'm sending one more email about my indigo projects. It's not about rug hooking or punching, so you don't need to show them, but I do want to show them because we were just talking about natural dyeing at the beginning of the episode. So let's walk through this. And Kaz, if you want to, oh, you did add content. You said, here are the photos and description of my indigo project. This summer, I've been busy growing Japanese indigo. I did not do the traditional method of making an indigo vat. I used fresh leaves for a Japanese dye method called tatakizome, tatakizoma, which left visible imprints. I also blended the fresh leaves to make juice and dyed silk scarves in the juice. And my son made me a blouse. Oh my God, from cotton fabric. That's right, he's a tailor. From cotton fabric, I ice dyed with chemical leaves and pounded indigo leaves on top of it. We're going to see all of this in a second. Now I'm harvesting and drying the leaves, and our natural dye group, led by Jean Haley, will try using them this winter. This is amazing. It's a rough collie. Pup looks like a Sheltie. It does, she does, but different coloring, right? It's a rough collie. Absolutely beautiful. So let me go to the next one. Get ready for more fun with resizing. Let me show you what this plant looks like. So obviously, we've talked about indigo many times. It's very exciting, the prospect of using it to dye anything, right? Because whether you're using it for clothing or for creating surface design, um, coloring to do your hooked projects, right? This is the plant that we're talking about. This is the Japanese indigo, right? So, and it sounds like, Kaz, you are, God, it looks just like lettuce, doesn't it? It sounds like you are saving some of it so that your dyeing group is going to try to use this over the winter. And I will be so curious to see. You've got to take pictures again. I'm going to show you this picture because this is you having mashed it up to make the juice that you're doing dyeing in the juice. When you say mash it up, do you mean you use like a blender or something like that? So you're probably, unless you've dyed with indigo, because I have not, are you all thinking the same thing as me? Are you thinking, Kaz, you put the wrong picture in. This is you making guacamole. But I'm guessing this color of indigo. Is it not the traditional blue that we're thinking? Is the Japanese indigo more of a green color? Gotta say, it also looks delicious, and I'm hungry already. Yeah, Diane says Japanese indigo looks like basil. It absolutely does. Okay, let me come over here, and you can see some of the projects. And let me make this. You have got so much going on, Kaz, too. You are such a crazy firefly. You've always got so many projects on the go. And you've got this up on your line. God, your line looks so tidy compared to our line here. It's like it's not even the same thing. Ooh, look at that. And this is cotton. Remember, cotton always dyes differently. Ooh, the blue happens with oxidation, I think. No, it's from leaves. Interesting. Kaz, did those leaves make both of these colors? Kaz says the indigo is green, but it will turn blue after being oxidized. You are joking. That's bonkers. Okay, so it turns blue later. So does that mean the one on the right That's your silk scarves, right? The one on the left I think is cotton, and on the right is the silk scarves. That's already oxidized. Is that true? So cool. Is this the part where you were doing the ice dyeing? I'm going to come down here. I think you have. Oh, yeah. Oh no. I hope I have the image of this shirt. Wait a minute. I just want to check because I really liked the shirt, and knowing that your son. I'm going to have to show the shirt on my phone. That makes me angry. So this is the pounding. You were doing blending it, right? You were creating the juice. You were doing dyeing. You were doing ice dyeing. You were doing the pounding. I want to pull up this email because the shirt is another one that did not come through, which makes me triggered. Let me show you one more slide, and we're going to end on this tonight. But I have to show you the shirt that Kaz's son, who is a tailor, sewed, and then wait a minute. Why can't I find it? It's coming. There we go. Am I? Hmm. Am I in the wrong? I might be. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm in the wrong inbox. Classic times. Classic moment times. Okay. Hang on. I'm almost there. I got to show that top Kaz. It's too good. All right. I'm going to do a search for it because I'm struggling again. There we go. I got it. Hold on. Let me just pull up the right one. And there we go. There we go. There we go. Oh God, that's so cool. Kaz says, I learned about indigo vats 2 days ago from Chemnitz, right? Goes from lime green slop to denim blue. You're joking. When it oxidizes, fun to watch. So, so like, how long is the oxidization um, process? Is it days kind of thing? And what is it just hitting the air, like oxidizing, like just making contact with the air? The leaves are indigo leaves and the flowers, purple ones, are cosmos. Oh, how pretty is that? They were pounded. Oh, I see the leaves and then your flowers. They were pounded by hammer. This is so much fun, the flower pounding, isn't it? This is also something that we could use for our projects, either appliquing wool or cutting it up, right? It's already patterned like a silk tie would pattern, except you're doing it by hammering, flour pounding, right? Cass says in some instances it takes weeks for the color, the indigo color, to oxidize to the blue that I think we're expecting to see. I did not know that. I did not know that. Look at this top. Your son, the as a person with a degree in sewing, and obviously your son is much ahead of me in this. I don't sew at all anymore. This just a beautiful line. He did a beautiful shape. I'm going to wait until that comes in focus with this piece, and I love the top stitching he did around the top of it. Let me make sure I get this in focus. There we go. How gorgeous is that? You know that that is going to like sit and fit so much nicer than just a top, right? This is going to fit you so beautifully. Yeah, I love that sort of big band where he stitched at the top, right? That creates like a little bit of space. Absolutely beautiful. So you turned your fabric piece, well, he turned it into this top for you. It is just absolutely beautiful. Now I'm out of focus. Um, so Diane says, different. I'm sorry, I'm out of focus now. I'll go away in a second and then you won't be so seasick, right? It's like, it's not you, it's me. So Diane says in some cases, as soon as the air touches it, and for Kaz, sometimes weeks, so it will, I'm back, depend, I guess, and maybe depends on other factors too. I guess that's the very thing about natural dyeing that people either love or don't love at all, is the idea that you could get different results with the same materials, right? And that is the case with natural dyeing. That's one of the reasons that at least for a brand like mine, when I have to work really quickly, I'm going to eat some leftover fish from the boat, and then I'm going to be dyeing for probably say 2 hours or more. I was dyeing until 11:59 last night. I went to take a picture at the clock to write to Kirsten and say I was dyeing. At least I finished by midnight, and as soon as I went to take the picture, it ticked over to midnight. Couldn't say that anymore. I think it's going to be the same tonight. So for someone like me that dyes a lot and is always working on a schedule, natural dye is not something I would want to sell, right, and share, because I would be scared I couldn't get the same result twice, and that not you all, right, but other people, people who don't really understand what goes into natural dyeing or whatever, might give me a hard time, right? It wouldn't be the first time. So, but as far as a hobby and doing it for fun as a sideline for you, what a great thing to do. In fact, I have been thinking about it because I bought a lot of natural dyeing stuff last year during the Fiber Festival season. And on my deck, my dye plants, if you remember those videos, with the exception of the black-eyed daisies, all of the other two kinds I've got, I forgot what they are, but they are thriving. Like they are taking over the porch. It's going to be all like, a Disney fairy tale out on the porch. I'm not going to be able to get up on the porch. They are all over the place. They are really thriving. So it would be good if I could find the time to do a little natural dyeing and some natural dye videos. But it's not stuff that I think I could ever share or put out as products, right? And also because I can't get the same color more than once. And you know from the beginning of this episode how meddlesome that can be in terms of like my schedule, right? So Diane says, thought, oh, beautiful. Carol said, Carol, good to see you. Carol says, beautiful top Kaz, a work of art. It sure is a work of art. And Diane says, thought for next week, locker hook stitch. Absolutely. Two sewing machine straight stitch. Therefore, sewing machine stitches are theoretically possible for locker hooking brain fart moment. No, and that fits in with the conversation we're having looking at Karen's Rhea cat, right? And looking at a chart, right? And the information in that chart was given by the block, which works particularly well for Rhea rugs, for cross stitch, for knitting machine, but also for locker hooking, right, in that latch hook backing, because we're looking at open spaces. Sometimes the point is a juncture, sometimes the point is the hole, but in either case, we're looking at a point where we're going to pop in color. Rug hooking too, but unless you're doing something very technical, I think rug hooking works the least best with a charted graph um, plan or pattern, right? But yes, these all go together. That's a great idea. I love that. Yes, please tell your son that is a very well made garment. Things that are fitted and that are well sewn, it's very apparent, isn't it? I mean, sometimes TJ Maxx does it right, right? You get the thing and it fits you great. But normally, when something is made for you or something is tailored properly, that's why expensive clothes are expensive. There's no question about it. When it's done properly and by the best people, right? The most talented people, looks different on, right? It can turn anybody into like a runway model. I know that from experience, and I'm certainly not a runway model. Kaz, it's beautiful. Please tell him I love it. I can't wait to see you wearing it. Yeah, that would be fun for next week. I'll see. I might not be able to get to that next week just because last week before the kids go to school, and I'm going to be catching up on orders for a while. I also need to get the Halloween book for myself on the rails. So just a reminder, if you want to participate in the Halloween book and you want to send a pattern, this is the Mystic Carpet for 2026. If you want to send a pattern and a finished piece, it has to be a very high quality photo because I printing stuff out of focus is just not something I can do mentally. That makes me crazy. But if you have a piece and you're like, I don't think I can get a good photo, if you send it to me, I'll send it back to you. But everything that goes into the Halloween books has a pattern. So if it's your piece, make sure that it's okay for people to do that pattern because the whole point is to offer people a bunch of seasonal stuff to choose from, right? And then they take the pattern, they blow it up, they hook it, punch it, cross stitch it, locker stitch it, whatever they want. So if you're interested in putting your original, not someone else's pattern, but your original Halloween pattern with the finished piece into the Haunted Rug book, I want to make sure that I have all that stuff in by I would say um, the second week of September, right? Latest. Actually, that would be okay. Second week of September would be okay. So think about whether that's something you want to do because it's great to have your stuff in print. Fall issue of Magpie is closed, so if you have Halloween stuff that is stuff particularly that people haven't seen a ton yet, I like to have kind of novelty things that people haven't really seen a lot in the books that I'm putting out. So if you've got something that you're like, oh, I'm kind of finished, and I put it on Facebook a couple times, but for the most part, most people, this will be new to most people. That could be a great thing. So send that, or if you don't send that to me, send me a note saying I'm putting this in because we're laying out the book this week. And I'm finishing some pieces as well for the book. But if I'm going to hold a spot for you, and it doesn't have to be this week, again, let me know right up until like the second week of September. After that, sketchy. But let me know because I'll hold a spot in the book for everyone who I know is for sure. Because I can start dropping in the text if you have a name for your pattern. And drop stuff in easily later, but at least I have it structured so we stay on time with that piece. That's a big project for me this week, and I'm catching up on everyone's orders this week. If I can get to locker hooking, I will do that too, I promise. I've got to put together a really large show for sometime this week if I can do a weekday show for coffee time. If not, we'll push to Friday. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to attempt to do a coffee episode this week. But the noise is happening again. Um, if I get abducted tonight, let it be known that I detected these noises many times, just as clues. Turn up the volume, right? Give the tapes to the FBI, turn up the volume, and just let them know. Besides the creature appearing at the door, there were signs, right? Yeah, so let me see how all that goes because I do want to put together like a supersized um, bumper episode for solder and look at a lot of the stuff from that. For those of you who didn't go like me, so I'm going to be working on that this week too. But I'll get as much done as I can. Um, the class is coming up this week too. So one more reminder on Thursday, the Design Like William Morris class. Be sure you're signed up for that. Whether or not you plan to do your own designing or not, I think it's number one, a great way to support the brand when I do these teaching. It's not often that I teach on Zoom. It's a big time thing for me. But when I do teach, I really enjoy it and I throw everything into it. And whether or not you plan to do your own designing or not in the future, it's a great way to support ribbon candy hooking. That's me. And it's also a great way to be inspired. You might take away ideas about color. You might start looking at patterns differently. You might start collecting William Morris textiles, right? Anything could come out of the class, even if you don't fancy yourself a designer. I think it's a great couple of hours to spend together being inspired and learning more about one of the most important people in the history of art, right? A person who basically invented a whole sort of genre of art, right? Um, like that whole sort of art, the slide from Art Deco to Art Nouveau, like this repeat pattern. As textile people, we are interested in William Morris, I think. So I will look forward to seeing you on Thursday night there. I will definitely be with you on Friday for cocktail time. And if I can throw in a coffee time before then, I promise I will. I'm going to see how far I can get with this dying tonight. That's the next thing. Next thing is food. Then it's dying. If I'm in good shape tomorrow, I'll come to you at coffee time. Otherwise, I'll post something and say, I'll see you later on in the week. We'll get as much going as we can. Thank you all for sending such beautiful work. It's so much fun looking at your great work. I have a bunch of notes for myself, things to take away so that we have other things to look for next time. And I made a note of the slides that didn't come through so we can look at those in a later show as well. Those will not be lost in the shuffle. Valerie, good to see you. So happy to see you there. And I will see you all soon. Can't say exactly when, but it will be sooner rather than later. In the meantime, happy Sunday night, everyone. You are super welcome. It was great to be together. And I will say in Dutch, I'll see you soon. Tot ziens, everybody.